Hi, for today's demonstration I'm going to be demonstrating lime and ginger cheesecake. They can be individual or one cheesecake, and then the part 2 of a video will be doing how to put a chocolate collar around the outside of your cheesecake. So for today's demonstration will be the lime and ginger cheesecake, and I'm just going to move the camera so you can see in a little bit more detail what we're going to do. So first of all, make sure that you've got all of your ingredients ready, which helps, makes it a bit easier for yourself. For the moulds, you can either use one large mould or a mould to your size. Depending on the size of the mould will depend on how many cheesecakes you get out of the recipe. We've got 4 deeper moulds here and 4 shorter moulds. I'm going to be focusing today on the taller moulds. Okay, but I'm just going to use it in this tin just to stop it from moving around. So the first step is your crushed ginger biscuits and some unsalted butter, melted butter. We're going to add that to your ginger biscuits. So we're just going to add it, if you do half at a time, that way you can see how much you just want the biscuits to bind, enough to hold the ginger biscuits together, but not too much that it makes it soggy. So it's just enough to line your base of your moulds, so when it's set a bit, it's crunchy and it's not wet. So to me, that looks about enough. So I've probably got about 75 grams to 100 grams of butter in there. Like I say, if you just do half the time, then you'll know that you've not got to use too much. Okay, so what we're going to do now with your moulds, we are going to fill the moulds, and then just by using your spoon, if you just fill the mould like so, just put probably a couple of spoons in each one to start with, just so. See, if you're using the tall moulds, some taller moulds, it may take more mixture. If you're using the shorter moulds, you probably won't use as much mixture, because then you'll have more base than cheesecake. So if you start with 2 spoons in each mould, and the way I've made these moulds is just with laminated paper, and I've laminated it. You can use cardboard and greaseproof paper. You may already have some moulds. You could use some cake moulds, like the poached egg moulds, and then make them a bit taller with some greaseproof paper. Okay, so once they're all in, like so, what you want to do now is just gently, with the back of your spoon, just push it around the edges, just lightly. Then what we're going to do is, what you'll find, if you do this all the way around, it then becomes a little bit pointy, just there. Okay, so to avoid that, if you use a rolling pin, what we're going to do is gently, holding the mould so it stays in place, just push down your biscuit base. That way you will find you'll have an even base. It's squashed flat, there's no lumps in it, and it's compact. Okay, so just hold your mould, just gently with the edge of the rolling pin, just a flat surface, push it down, and then you'll have a wedge, and then I'll show you. Okay, so it looks like that. Right, so it's flat and there's no lumps. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop them in the fridge while we make the cheesecake mixture, and they can be set in while we prepare the mixture. Okay, so for the next step, they're in the fridge, so they can be set in for as long as it takes to do your cheesecake mixture. So in the bowl I've got 250 ml of double cream, and then I've got 300 grams of cream cheese. So first of all, we're going to whip the cream just lightly so it sort of soft peaks. Now you can either use an electric whisk or you can use a manual whisk. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so we'll start to whip the cream until it's sort of soft peaks. Okay, so that's now reached soft peaks. Okay, and what we're going to do now is add the cream cheese to that mixture. So if you add in 300 grams of full fat cream cheese, you can use the low fat if you wish to. Just give that a little bit of a mix with your mixer, not too much because you don't want to over whip the cream, just enough just to combine it. Put that on slow. Your mixing done. Okay, so what we're going to add now is your stem ginger and syrup. Now you can either use what I've got here is diced stem ginger already diced in syrup. You can get jars of like balls of ginger in syrup, which then you need to dice yourself. I can't get hold of that at the minute, so I've got this one, but I also got crystallized stem ginger if you couldn't get anything else. So depending on how gingery you like it, you could use some of both, but you don't have to buy both because you obviously don't want to spend too much money on both if you're not going to use both. But you could also decorate it with some diced stem ginger, which I've got. So I'm going to add some of this diced ginger in syrup, and I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons. Again, it's really down to taste and how gingery you like it. And then I'm going to add some lime zest. So I've got 2 limes there, 2 limes zested. And then I'm just going to add, so there's 1.5 lime zested into this cup, and it's about 35 ml. So what I'm going to do is just going to add half, so that's probably 3/4 of a lime, and then we're just going to mix all of the mixed around just to combine it all. Use a palette knife, a spatula. It's easier to scrape down from the sides and make sure that you've mixed in all of your ginger and your lime and your cream cheese, like so. And at this point you could taste it if you wanted to see whether you want to add any more ginger or any more lime. I'm just going to have a bit of a taste. I'm going to add a little bit more ginger, another 1/2 tablespoon. And I'm going to actually put in a few extra chunks because I like it quite coarse, a little bit of ginger, a bit more ginger. Like I say, you don't have to buy both the gingers. And just a touch more lime juice. You don't want too much lime juice in there because you don't want it to be too wet for it to try and set. Okay, then we're going to mix that. So that's fully mixed. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pop it into the moulds. Okay, so for our next step, we're going to put the mixture into the moulds that I've just took out of the fridge. Now you can spoon it in if you wish, that's fine. But I find it's actually easier to use a piping bag. So I've just got some disposable piping bags from the pound shop that you get about 10 maybe for £1, 8 to 10. Okay, and then I've just got a couple. You may take a couple to fill it. I just find it easier to disperse the cheesecake mixture in there so you don't get any gaps around the outside as of when you're spooning it. You can just get it straight into the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some mixture into the piping bag. I've not cut the end of the piping bag just yet. So we're going to grab some mixture, pop it in. Now when you hold your piping bag, if you hold it, fold the edges around your hand like I did, like so. So you can see, if you hold it around here, your thumb's there, so if you wrap it around your hand, it's easier to put the mixture in. Okay, so you get the mixture, pop it in, then you can use the side of your hand to scrape your spatula. So if you try and get half in to start with, and then you peel up the edges like so, then that way you're not covered in cheesecake mix. Okay, and then what you want to do is take the top of your piping bag and bunch it together, and then just gently squeeze down as far as it'll go, and then you'll probably find there's going to be a bit of an air pocket down there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to snip that off. We're not going to snip a thin bit because it'll take a long time to fill the cheesecake moulds. Because we're filling it quite widely, I'm going to cut it so that the hole is quite wide. So I'm just going to pop it down on the side, cut it. Just be careful how you handle it now, otherwise you're going to lose all your mixture. Okay, so while it's upside down, if you just swizzle it around, just so it's a little bit tighter at the top there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is over the top. So hold it over the top on the cheesecake, so if you do lose some of it, it goes into your moulds, like so. Okay, then all you need to do then is a gentle press from the top. It won't all ooze out. So just move the camera down a little bit more. So as you can see, it's quite a big hole. And what we're going to do right in the centre, so I'm just going to squeeze, pushing down onto the base of the ginger nuts, and just lightly coming up like so. So I'll try and do that under the camera so it's a bit easier to see. Okay, so what we're going to do is into the centre, gently push, and what you'll find is as you're pushing down and pulling up, it fills out the edges. So you shouldn't have too much of a gap. So I'll show you on a plate or on the side. I'll just show you here on my line plate. Okay, so as you're squeezing down like so, you're pushing down and you're pulling up slightly, so it looks like that as it goes in the mould, and then it rises up. Okay, so if you fill a bag with half the mixture, do 2 and then do the other 2, and then if you've got any mixture left, you can then disperse it. So I'm going to do the other 2 now. So other piping bag. Again, when you do it, hold it around your hands like so. So when you put your mixture in, you can use your fingers to scrape off the excess cheese mixture. So we go again, in and on the side. And then if you need to, you can just bring up the sides just to shake it down a little bit more, just to get the last bits in. you use a spatula, you can get majority of it out of the bowl then. Okay, and then again, pull the sides up, just shake it down a bit, take the top, pull it together, and then gently turn it around, and then you'll get that bit of an air pocket again like we did before. Okay, so we're going to cut the end off again, and then we're going to fill the next two. Okay, same procedure. All you need to do is squeeze from the top here of the piping bag, hold it right into the centre, and then just pushing down and pulling up at the same time. You should then get your mixture all around the edges, and there should be no air pockets. Okay, so down into the centre, pushing down and pulling up slowly, as you can see. Still got a little bit of mixture left, so you can either go around again and fill them like so. Okay, once you've done that, you can then just use the back of a spoon, and you can just level it off like so. Like I said, just depending on the size of your moulds, mine are quite tall, so that may take a bit longer to set. Usually 2 to 3 hours to set. Overnight's absolutely fine. Could take a little bit longer, again just depending on the depth. Mine are quite deep, so they may take a bit longer. If you're doing it in a tin like this, 3 hours should be okay. Okay, but you just need to test it just to see first. Okay, so once they're done, I'm going to pop them in the fridge to chill so that they're set, ready. They need to be set and firm, ready to do your chocolate collar, which we'll show you in the next video. Okay, thank you.